Here's my plea to everybody, and thanks for listening to HSRPM every Saturday and all this stuff, and I'll sign off in a minute to do this, but I want to end with this, and I'm going to make it, I think I'm going to make a separate video for this, so I'll start it as its own thing, but hey everybody, welcome. Here's what I want to remind everybody of when you're dealing with social media during the election cycle as it comes up. Okay. Unless you know the person personally or you've interacted with them for a very long time and you can kind of vouch for who they are, take everyone, or you know they know somebody you know, that kind of idea. Genuinely, take everyone with a huge grain of salt. Also, don't follow any new accounts that are just doing positive stories, cat videos, that kind of stuff, because what they're going to do is change their name and flood your stream with garbage later on, closer to the election. Get used to that idea. Secondly, every time you see something on social media that upsets you, specifically if it's a video clip, usually the viral video clips are the dead giveaways, like the guy punching the seat, or a school police officer pushing a kid around, those kind of things. All of them, and I know, and some of them may be worth being upset about, and I get it. All of them maybe it would, but take all of them with this piece of device. If it picks up in the middle of whatever's going on, you are being sold a narrative that someone wants you to further. If you see a physical altercation between two people and you don't see the 3 to 5 minutes leading up to it, and it's cut off by the person who is showing it to you, you are being lied to and manipulated. Understand this. And it may be to get you to be upset about an idea that you think, thanks, Woodland Amigo, for the host. This may be something that you recognize as a cause you believe in, but it may not be true. It may be manipulated, edited, or what have you. And what'll happen is you'll go, I don't like, police violence against unarmed black men. I don't like when women are mistreated by men in this situation. I don't want whatever your cause is. And you absolutely have every right to have that concern. You will be presented with a video online on YouTube, or more often on Twitter and Facebook, that is an edited version of a situation that appears to be that thing. And you, like everybody else, will get behind it virally, get upset about it because it's very upsetting. The piece you're seeing is very upsetting. And then later on, they'll release the whole video, and it will not be as cut and dry as you have been presenting it as it has, because you only saw that one part. And the other side will use that as information, as sort of a way of saying that your argument is fake and you're the fake news side and you push a lie and this was the reality and you push the fake narrative. Just avoid that process. If you have something to say about one of those videos or one of those situations, try and find the full video before you say a word. I know it's hard, but I'm telling you, this is part of the strategy. This is part of that Russian psyop stuff, and it is rampant. You are being led by the nose, using your empathy, your caring, and your heart as a weapon against you. Do not go in for it. Push back. Just like if you have something to say about a video that you see, don't virally retweet it automatically. Go take a look. The other thing is, if you're about to respond to one of these things and you're very upset about it, and you're horrified and you want to say something, all I would say is take 5 deep breaths before you respond. Don't do it from your freak out point. Do it from you've steadied yourself and you're looking at it with all of your faculties, so that you respond in a way that's helpful, so that you have all of your faculties, not just your outrage. Because right now, all this is outrage volleyball. They're just tipping the ball up and keeping the outrage up without any solutions, any of that stuff, and just basically dividing the populace against each other. It is a division wedge. It will be used again and again and again. You will see men rude to women and women rude to men. You will see children abused in public. You will see Black Lives Matter style videos of cops shoving people, shooting them, pushing them down, and all that kind of stuff. And they will all be edited right up to the moment that the violence itself started, with none of the precursor and none of the aftermath that explains any of what's going on. And your own genuine, and I understand what I'm saying here, your own genuine empathy, your genuine well-meaning will be weaponized against you. Don't do it. Try to avoid the process. And if you do have something to say about it, say something in your own lane. Say it in your own feed. Go, I just saw a video where blah, 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 but don't repost it. Just say it within just say your piece. Don't tag on to those kind of things and ride them. Because right now, that's what most viral videos are right now. It's just that everybody jumps on them like a tick does a dog with good blood, and it's a bad thing. And it's worse because they've now figured out, like we talked about how the loopholes were created in the 80s for, business to screw everybody else, and mergers were created. The idea that a company could see another company in its own business thing that it was doing better than this company was, and it could do better with the resources that this company has, and it only needs a slight management shift. And so this company that makes TVs buys a smaller company that makes TVs because their knobs are better. That's a normal business interaction. What that became in the 80s and the early 90s was companies that don't make anything buying companies that make stuff and putting them out of business because the parts were more valuable than the company. They found a wedge, stuck a crowbar in, and broke it. And the same thing is happening with social media. I am telling you, and I am imploring you, when you see these videos, and you will see a lot of them, and I love that you care, check yourself before you do that. Before you repost it, before you retweet it, before you jump in and say, I believe this is wrong, because what you believe is wrong is a real feeling. What that shows might not be that thing, and you will be complicit and helpful in the kind of like divisive psyop stuff that's going on. I mean it. Don't, and it's going to be hard. Sometimes you're going to see something, dude punching some lady's seat, and you want to put your 2 cents in, or some school police officer shoving a little kid to the ground. And you're going to go, this is horrible, how people are treated, and blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to release the video later, and it's not going to be what you thought it was. And the other side is going to say, you guys don't care about the truth, you just care about your narrative. And then you're on your heels again, and it's a waste of time, and it undermines the very cause you believe in. Here's the strongest example I can give of that. The Covington High School kids. Remember those guys? Remember Nathan Phillips, the drummer, the Native American drummer, who came up and was beating the drum in the kid's face? Because he came upon 2 groups that were arguing with each other, and he felt that it was he needed to diffuse the situation. And his decision making in this process was that in a group where white kids are on one side and black people are on the other side, that because of the narrative that we're all used to in society, that the white kids must be wrong and the black people must be right in this situation. And that's where that he didn't just stand in the middle and beat his drum and say, both of you need to calm down, which would be really clearing the space. He marched towards the kids, up into their group, got into their face, and one of the kids who just didn't move looked like more of an a-hole than he actually was. Here's the problem. The group that was yelling at the Covington High School kids, and this does not excuse the MAGA hat wearing, like, you can have all your judgments about them that you want. Understand this. Listen to what I'm saying here. The other group that was yelling at them was the Black Hebrew Israelites. This is the group behind the recent shootings and attacks on Jewish people in New York. It's not a bunch of Black Lives Matter people were marching. These kids were yelling at them. This is the normal interaction. The Black Hebrew Israelites were yelling homophobic stuff, were yelling anti-gay stuff, not homophobic, but they were yelling anti-gay stuff at the Catholic school kids because of their religion, not because of their hats. And Nathan Phillips came in, and all we did was you picked up him beating the drum and this kid kind of smiling like an a-hole in his face. The kid can be a jerk, and that can be true. But what happened was the entire conversation got scuttled, and online there's tons of stuff about how the left allowed the Black Hebrew Israelites who are shooting people in Brooklyn to get away with this stuff. When the news first started using Twitter and Facebook, and they would put up like, whack job 357 says yada yada, and they would post people's Twitter remarks on the news on CNN. When you don't know any of these people, yeah, Jesse Smollett is a great example. Thanks, Mike C. Another example where you're being led by the nose because you're picking it up midstream and you're being told a narrative, and that narrative plays on your genuine beliefs. And do not let the good parts of yourself be weaponized against you by those folks. That's incredibly important. But back in the in early days of social media stuff popping up, CNN and all these sites used to go, let's check with what social media says about stuff. And you have no idea who these people are. Well, it didn't take long for somebody to just realize, wow, I just call myself something, and if I just post enough, they'll eventually put what I say online. Like, we've turned real news, real cable news, into the C-SPAN callers who can just yell Baba Booey and hang up. Only now, you don't have to hide your Russian accent calling in. You can do it in type. And they weaponized it and recognized it. So this is what I'm saying. Just recognize that half the time you're being played. And do not let anybody take something that is good about you and weaponize it later. Cherish it and protect it. Get what I'm saying? Okay. The other one is check your posture. Thanks, Vincent. Check your posture. When you're sitting on your phone all the time like this and you're all hunched over and you're on your phone like this, kids are the worst about it, unfortunately. People sit over like this and they lean over and they look into their phones, or they stand and their shoulders are forward and their chest is pushed down. And you do not breathe deeply when you do that. You breathe into your upper chest. When you breathe into your upper chest, your body thinks you're in fight or flight. You become more panicked. You respond to things from panic and fight or flight as opposed to what they actually are. You see them from that biochemical point of view. It affects how you think and how you behave, and it adds to your feeling of exhaustion and anxiety. If you're feeling anxious about social media, get off social media for a little while. But if you can't, or you don't want to, or whatever, sit up straight, take 5 deep breaths into your belly, into your gut. And that way, if you're still upset after all that, cool. But most of the time you won't be. You'll recognize, oh, I was reacting to something in a way. Or let's say I do want to react to that, but I have a better take on it than I would have put if I'd have just gut reacted. Because a lot of times people are just repeating the reaction they see from other people to get in on it in that regard. Does that make sense? So do that. Yeah, if you can go for a run, Carl, that's a great idea. I'm for it. But if you can't, stretching helps. Go outside, walk around the block, but ultimately, even while you're doing it, even while you're in the process, you're online, you're doing stuff, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're doing your thing. Just remember to breathe deep into it, honestly, because you are no good to your side, whatever that side may be, if you're not bringing all of you to the circumstance. If you are physiologically bringing a knife to a gunfight because you are too exasperated and overwhelmed by emotion to have a clear and thoughtful response to stuff, and then you become part of a mob and part of a herd, and then you're not thinking for yourself, and then if somebody comes to you and goes, what's the solution? Well, when people are in herd mentality, they don't think in terms of solutions. They turn around and go, okay, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing? They don't come up with their own. And every individual You are all different. I'm not. Shh. You all have something to give experientially in that circumstance, but you're not giving it if you're just parroting what you think the outrage of the moment should match. Okay, there you go. The end of the lecture for now. But I just wanted to say that this is incredibly important going into the election cycle because you're going to see a lot of divisive behavior. You're going to see a lot of people claiming to be Bernie bros who aren't actually, who have no desire whatsoever to vote for any Dem, much less Bernie in this matter, who are just, but know that if they can get you upset enough, it'll split the vote. It'll divide them up. So avoid that at all costs. Try building bridges. And if you do feel like somebody is messing with you and they're being a jerk on purpose, anytime you are confronted with somebody online who is obviously looking for a specific response from you, they want you upset. They want you angry and outraged and typing in all caps. That's the last thing you want to give them then. Recognize that, look at who you're being led by, and go, okay, what response do they want me to have? Is that the best response I can give? If the answer is no, then take 5 deep breaths and come up with whatever would be the opposite of what they're hoping for from you. And most of the time, it's boredom or laughter, and you don't care. If you laugh too much, like if it's 1,000 laughing emojis, for example, to an individual, I know that I actually upset you. You're just using that as a mask. But if it's one and a yawn, it's like, oh, damn. And so just measure what you're doing. Understand, especially if you're talking to a stranger. If you're talking to a friend, have your own conversations. Argue all you want. Flame war with your friends. I want everybody who listens to this show regularly or who comes by here that we probably all share a similar point of values. Okay. I want that level of values and your life experience and what you've been through in your life to kind of gel together into something that creates maybe a solution or a circumstance that other people wouldn't have thought of. That's the best thing that you can bring, right? That's how you help. And so you can't do that if you're responding to a viral video the exact same way other people do, and that response has been weaponized by the person who posted it to get you to respond in that way, which is 80% of it, I swear to God. 80% from cat videos, half the hashtags you see created are there just to manipulate you, just to check your impulse level. And people keep track of them. They have 3,000 data points per social media account. I'm telling you. So the best thing you can do is not have that reaction. And you'll go into a column, by the way, of, wow, this person, we can't shake them. They just have their thing. And we can't drive them in any one direction or not. We can't make them start shopping and go for some retail therapy just by upsetting them enough online, which is half of Instagram these days. I want you guys to go into this whole thing aware. I feel like a parent having a conversation with their kid about, like, look, you're going to go off of kid Twitter and onto adult Twitter now, and there's going to be some monsters out there. And not every other, 14-year-old your age is going to be a real 14-year-old. Bunch of them are dudes in jail with computer privileges. Don't go meet anybody. It's that kind of thing. You got to be aware in those situations. Don't be overtly rude to a stranger. You don't have to be, but you can develop a rhetoric and a character in and of yourself that helps you deal with people you aren't socially unaware of their reality, whether they exist at all, whether they're a sock puppet account or an activist group sitting around pretending to be whomever. Take everybody with a grain of salt. And you can, sorry, Bruce, you don't have to not watch the cat videos, but I will say this. Don't follow the accounts. Look at the hashtags occasionally if you need a little break, but stay away from the accounts that post them. Love you guys. You're awesome. Let me know. And if you want to listen to the show, thank you, Spatial K. We are on every Saturday on WCPT Radio in Chicago and on TuneIn. And then, of course, streaming live on infotainmentwars.com every weekend. Please heed my words. Even if you hate my guts, even if you disagree with me, Even if you think I am a liberal monster who wants to turn your kids into trans robots, I don't care what you think. I do care that when you're arguing with me or anybody else that's with me online, you're actually arguing the point that is being made, not being led around by a ring in your nose like a bull. That's it. Peace and be wild. We'll see you next time. You guys, I love you so much. Thank you guys for the super chats today. I was overwhelmed. I appreciate it. If you want to be a Patreon subscriber, please consider doing that. Patreon.com/HalSparks. If you can't, that's completely cool. I'd love just having you here in the chat room, even if you disagree, as long as you're reasonable and real, which is always, debatable. Right. Bye.